Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. Today we're gonna jump into Poker Snowie and we're gonna try and analyze some of the tournament hands that we've played in the past. We're going to try and import some hands, some hand histories here. We've not done this before, so let's see how this works. I assume this will be pretty simple, but you never know, right? We're gonna go to desktop, or maybe this PC, downloads, and I've got some hands here. Maybe we can start with these 888 poker hand histories. And if I just go like this, or maybe I should just go one by one. I kind of worried there's gonna be too much hands to process, and maybe let's just try it like that. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this will import one file. Okay, so this will not spread it between different tournaments, or will it? I don't know. But I assume it will take a while. Okay, skip some hands, 396. Empty winner list. Okay, so got some hands. Let's see. Oh, it's gonna be a big one, I think, huh? So different tournaments, I assume, are included in this file. 396 hands. We see the error rate is quite big, 10.86, 7 blunders. Okay, this is not helpful. So let's browse our blunders. This should be fun and interesting. So we got a hand. The first blunder is a tournament hand on 1200, on 600, 1200 blinds with 150 ante. We're on the dealer, and we open to a little over 2 BBs. We get a call from small blind, and on the 797 flop, small blind checks, and we continue for a quarter pot bet, or for a third pot bet, and Snowy likes to check here 70% of the time and bet 30% with this sizing. And Snowy prefers the quarter pot bet size. Cool. The small blind calls on the 6 of clubs on the turn. Once again, the small blind checks, and we check behind, which is a bad play because we just picked up some nice equity. We picked up the open-ended straight draw, and we see the Snowy bets here 100% of the time, and it prefers to go for a half pot bet. And we see the EV between checking and betting is same, but of course with only one of these options we can get the villain to fold. So this is a wrong move, but you see it's a small one. The real mistake happens here on the river when the 8 of spades hits and villain bets half pot and we fold. How did we fold it here actually? I have no idea. Maybe it was a misclick. Yeah. How did we fold here? We see the solver is calling here 100% of the time, and the EV difference is 5.65 big blinds. So quite a lot. But how did we fold it here? I'm not sure, actually. But, well, we did, so let's move on to the second blunder. And this is a hand that starts on 800, 1600 blinds with 200 ante. We're on the big blind. Under the gun opens for 2 BBs. Action falls to us, and we call with our king 9 suited. All standard. And on the flop, 10-7 jack, rainbow with 1 club. We check it, and the villain checks behind. On the turn here, we hit our straight, and we lead for 80% of the pot. And we see the solver actually here likes to check a lot, it seems. Doesn't really bet that much. But EV-wise, it's fine to bet here, but we shouldn't do that too often. Should probably check a lot. But we did bet, and the villain called us. And on the river, there's another queen, and we decide to check here. And yeah, I think, well, for me, it still makes a lot of sense to check here, because we're hoping the villain will bet. And I'm especially surprised that the villain elected to check behind with ace queen here. But yeah, the solver strategy with checking on the turn and betting on the river makes a lot of sense. We kind of went backwards. We bet the turn, and because of that, I think we should continue betting, because if we're betting here as a bluff or with a draw, then on the screen here we should continue doing that and not check. And if we check here, I think the villain's just given up with way too much of hands that he would call. If we bet here, 20k, he's calling with ace queen, probably. But if we check it, he just checks behind because he's got nice value and is afraid of the straights. So yeah, totally agreed. This is a blunder, and I would actually prefer checking here on the turn, check calling, and then checking on the river. I guess that makes more sense. But if we elect to bet on the turn, we should follow it up with a bet on the river. Let's go to the next one. Wait. Okay, that's it. Let's see it. So here we are with ace king off on a 2500, on a 1200, 2500 blinds with ante 325, and we've got ace king under the gun on a somewhat, 46, 47 ish blinds. We open it up for 2.5 BBs, and we get a call from the big blind. The flop comes 6-8-10 with 2 hearts. Big blind checks. We continue for a third pot bet. Big blind calls. There's a 3 of spades on the turn. It goes check, check. And now on the river, there's a jack of spades. Big blind checks. And we bet third pot bet. And the solver doesn't like this move. The solver checks behind 100% here. And if it does bet, it bets full pot. Yeah, looking at it. If we bet full pot, then the EV is the same. But still, even if we were to bet full pot, we should only do that 42% of the time here. And it's best to just, yeah, if we're electing such a small bet, it's better to just check, I guess. Yeah, with this bet here, with a third pot bet, I think we can get the villain to fold some of the hands that beat us. He may fold a 6 or a pair of 7s, something like that. But he's probably not gonna fold an 8 or better. So yeah, that's why it's if we're gonna bet here, it should be a bigger bet to force him to fold a 10 even. So yeah, makes sense, but well, we bet a third. The villain raised us, and we fold it. Let's check out the next one. We had ace queen suited. Go to the start of the hand. Right. So this hand happens at 1,500 blinds with ante 375. We're 8-handed, and we're on the big blind with ace queen suited. There's a raise from middle position. We call it with ace queen suited on 32 big blinds. And yeah, I see why it's an error, because we should probably 3-bet it almost 100% of the time here, or 100%. But we elected to just call. And on the flop, ace 10 3, we checked, which is fine, of course. And villain continued for a quarter pot bet, which we just called. And now there's a 9 of spades on the turn. We check once again. The villain continues for 3/4 of the pot, and we decide to min raise it, which is the error, right? The solver prefers to just call here, and it makes sense, of course. If we're gonna raise here, I think it should be on the high side. But what are we really raising here, right? It's well, we got quite a bit of hands that we could raise here actually, so value raising with ace queen suited makes some sense, right? Maybe even makes a lot of sense. Maybe not a lot, but it makes some sense. But yeah, the Snowy thinks it's a bad play. If we're raising, we should raise more. And yeah, but the villain calls us anyway. And on the 8 of hearts on the river, we shove it, and the villain folds. So if we just call here the bet, right, it would be 32, 8 would be 56, 57, 5. And we would have something like 70k. So if we just call it here, then on the river we may not be able to get it all, because the pot would be too small. So I actually like how I played this hand, because I got it all. I made a good position. I made a good spot for myself here on the river. There's 90k in the pot, and we've got 55 behind. But if we raise here to 48k, then he folds more, but also he commits more. And on the river, he probably has to go either way. And if he doesn't, then we win a bigger pot. So I guess it's an interesting spot, but yeah, maybe in the future we should go for a bigger sizing here. Maybe go for like 45k or something, or 44k, leaving us half of that behind. Anyways, interesting spot. Let's go to the next one. It happens on the 1,750 and 3,500 blinds with 450 ante, and we've got King Jack suited on under the gun +1, and we choose to open with it 8-handed, and the action folds around to the big blind, who completes with 8-9 off. The flop is King 7-6 with 2 spades, and the big blind calls. The big blind checks. We go for a half pot bet, and the big blind calls. There's a 10 of spades on the turn. So the flush completes, the straight completes, and the big blind checks. We bet half pot. Big blind shoves, and we call it. And this is a wrong move in the eyes of the solver. But let's think about this. We've got 88k behind. There is so much. There's 54. There's 71k in the middle. In the pot, there's 71k in the middle, and like 175 to be added to the pot. So 246 total, and we need to put 88 to win it. Yeah, but what are we really beating here? I think this is not a spot where we should call with King Jack suited. Because there's not a lot of bluffs that the villain has to justify it. What kind of bluffs can the villain have here? Like 5-4 of diamonds. Jack Queen of diamonds. You can have some ace jacks, ace queens, stuff like that. That is turning into a bluff. Sometimes, but there's just not a lot of these hands. So yeah, makes a lot of sense to fold it here. And but we did not. We chose to call it, and the villain showed us 8-9. Maybe we had some, I don't know, some tell about this player that he might have a foolish hand here. But yeah, it does not make sense to call here with King Jack suited. Well, the villain might be doing that with sometimes with a hand like Ace-6 or Ace-7 with Ace of Spades, or maybe Ace-10 with the Ace of Spades. But probably we do not have enough equity considering his entire range to call this. He will have just way too many straights and flushes here, or 2 pair hands, to justify us calling here. So yeah, it should be a fold. Now we have a hand on 250, 500 blinds with ante-60. I don't know if it's a heads-up tournament, or probably it is. And the action pre-flop goes, we raise it up, the big blind 3 bets, and we call, which is all pretty standard, but yeah, the villain, the Snowy shows that it's better to 4-bet the pair of 10s here, and I agree, we should 4-bet it, but always, maybe it should be always a 4-bet, but nonetheless, the big blind checks, we continue for a 3rd pot bet, and big blind calls. Now king on the turn, big blind checks, and we check behind, which is definitely a bad play. We do not want to give him free cards. There's a flush, draw, straight draws. There's the king, of course. So we should bet here often, and we see the solver likes to bet here a 1/4 pot bet. And that's what we should do too. But we decided to check. And then on the Queen of Hearts on the river, the villain bets 85% of the pot. And we fold. Yeah. And that's it. That's the 7 blunders. There's no more. We've gone for 25 minutes, so let me stop this episode here, and then I'll record a new one with going over some of the other errors in this tournament pack. So thank you very much for watching. If you stayed this long, please leave a comment below. Just write Snowy or ask any question that you may have. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. You want to learn how to play poker? Great. You have little or no experience playing poker? No problem. Do you want to learn the fundamentals, the most basic principles that allow you to easily win money when playing with casual players? That's perfect, because this course was created specifically for people like you. My name is Mateusz, I've played over 3 million hands of No Limit Texas Hold'em, and I'd like to teach you how to play poker like a pro. What you will learn in this course are the fundamentals, the ABC of poker condensed into 21 short and easily digestible lectures. In each lecture, you will learn a different concept which you can test out and practice immediately after watching. Well, do you want to become a good poker player? Do you want to be able to beat recreational players easily? Do you want to have a great time winning at your local home games? Great! Get this course now and start winning at poker.